What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back. And today, another season review. This one, very excited for. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who came up incredibly short in the postseason after having one of, if not the best season in franchise history. Definitely the best season they've ever had without LeBron James being on the roster. But the series against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Semis did not go their way. Game one, they wound up losing at home to the Pacers, mainly because, I think it was game two where Mobley and Garland were out. It was either game one or game two. But game two, I think, was the redemption game for Cleveland that they really needed to get. And then wind up losing to Tyrese Halliburton on a game winner. And I think that just deflated them, right? Because after that, they go to Indiana, they're down 2-0, and it just, I think the team kind of gave in, right? And, a lot of people are giving Max Strus a lot of stuff right now because he, I think had an interview before they went into game five, saying, we're down 3-1, but, if you're not ready to try and turn this around, you don't think we have fight left in this team, then you shouldn't even show up. And he, goes to the game and goes 0 for 9. So a lot of people are saying, he should have just kept his mouth shut. But, I think he had the right message. Obviously, he didn't deliver either, but, it is what it is, right? And I think a part of this has to do with a little bit of complacency. I don't think that complacency is coming from Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell brings his A game every single night. But I think some of the other guys are getting a little complacent, right? I think Darius Garland, I think Evan Mobley, I think some of the guys that are coming off the bench, you get so used to success that you don't think that you have to try as hard as you have in the past. Right? Like you feel like you've made it, right? A lot of teams in the regular season do this. They've been comparing this team to the Atlanta Hawks team that was probably 10 or so years back. That Hawks team, I think, went like 60-22 and were first in the East. And they had 4 All-Stars on that team. They had Jeff Teague, Al Horford, Paul Millsap, and Kyle Korver, all All-Stars. And I don't know if I would really say that those teams are super similar, but obviously the Cavs had 3 All-Stars. I think a lot of people didn't think that Evan Mobley and Darius Garland both deserved to be up there. I think everyone knew Donovan Mitchell had to be one, and then it was going to be one of those two. But the fact that all 3 of them got him is a little different. Evan Mobley, obviously also Defensive Player of the Year. I personally think it should have gone to Dyson Daniels, the great barrier thief, but shout out Evan Mobley. He does play good defense. He was a big reason why the Cavs had such a great season. But so 64-18, number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They led the league in points per game at 121.9 throughout the regular season. That's a point differential of 9.5. They only allowed 112.4 opponent PPG. And this team is, frankly under contract for the next couple of seasons. So they're going to have to run it back next season. I don't know if they're going to do any sort of retooling. The big thing that I noticed, though, is that Ty Jerome is a free agent, and he certainly has earned himself quite a bit of money. He played incredibly well. He has just an extreme level of confidence and plays with a lot of determination. One of the biggest assets you need to have as a basketball player, because you can be incredibly skilled, but if you don't have the mental part of the game down, it's very hard to succeed and succeed at a high level. So shout out Ty Jerome. He deserved all of the praise he got this season. And so I think they got to bring back Ty Jerome. Sam Merrill is also going to be a free agent. Tristan Thompson, free agent. Javonte Green, free agent. But I think, keeping the majority of this team together, besides Sam Merrill, Ty Jerome, Tristan Thompson, I think they have what they need, right? They just have to figure it out a little bit differently. Maybe not put as much pressure on the regular season. Maybe come in as the underdog, right? Because everyone knows that they can beat teams. I think the first round series against Miami, though, really kind of blew up their confidence a lot. That, I think, had a lot to do with it, because they go into Miami for games 3 and 4, And game 3, they won 124-87. Basically beat them by nearly 40 points. The next game, 2 days later on April 28th, they win in Miami by 55 points, 138-83. I don't even think like the starters played like the second half. It was that like they were just getting obliterated by the Cavs. So when you play a series like that, it's very easy to get a big head and think, okay, I don't need to do anything else here. I can cakewalk my way to the finals or until I face the Celtics or the Knicks even, but I think it was really just the Celtics. Obviously, the Celtics got knocked off by the Knicks. But, I just think they need to not have as much. I feel like complacency is a tough word, right? I don't really know if that's the right word to use, but I think they just thought that they were good enough to not really put their A game out, right? And, Evan Mobley and Darius Garland came back after I'm not sure if it was game 1 or game 2, right? I think it was game 2. I'm pretty sure it was game 2. So they come back after game 2, right? They win game 3. And my thing is, it's like, I don't know if those injuries, right? And I don't know as much as, that the staff knows, but like, I can't imagine those injuries were that severe where they couldn't have played through it in game 2, right? And I think they just weren't taking the Pacers seriously, right? And I'm not suggesting if you're hurt, don't play, right? But the fact that they came back a game later, right? These are minor injuries. These are things that you typically will see players play through in the playoffs. So again, I just think it's like they kind of thought, we're playing the Pacers. This is not going to be difficult for us, especially because everyone's been doubting the Pacers because, they kind of played a bunch of injury-riddled teams last season, and that's how everyone believes they got to the conference finals. I mean, I think that has something to do with it, but I don't think that's the entire story. So you have to give credit where credit is due. But the Cavs also do not have a draft pick in the first round of the 2025 NBA draft. Their draft pick goes to the Suns, I believe. But they do have 2 second-round picks, the 58th overall pick and the 49th overall pick. So maybe they will get some good players there. Who knows? And like I said, Darius Garland under contract until 2028. Donovan Mitchell under contract until 2028. That year he has a player option for $53.8 million. DeAndre Hunter is under contract until the summer of 27. Jarrett Allen under contract until the summer of 2029. Max Strus under contract until 2027. Evan Mobley under contract until 2030. So they're paying out a lot of big money. And again, this team's very good. I think they are going to have a very strong chance to make an NBA Finals appearance within the next couple of years. Call it next year or the year after or the year after that. I think it's more than likely that we see them in the finals at some point. If they keep this team together, right? If they decide to, kind of dismiss things and, move in a different direction, then we'll see what happens. But I think this team has a lot of potential. I just don't think it really was their year. I think they put a lot of emphasis on the regular season. Shout out Kenny Atkinson, the coach of the year. Started off the regular season 15-0. Just incredible, right? And they were getting a lot of praise early. I think it kind of went to their heads and it hurt them in the long run. So all in all, very good season for the Cavs, but I would imagine for Cavs fans, they are disappointed. They expected more, and I understand why they might think that, because being a 64-18 team should garner you more in the postseason, right? You have the OKC Thunder, who have now made it to the conference finals, and the Cavs are back at home after losing in the second round 4-1, right? Not a desirable finish for a number 1 seed, not a desirable finish for a team that started off the season 15-0. So that's all I got for you guys. Let me know your comments in the comment section down below. I want to know what you think about the Cavs. What do you think about Donovan Mitchell and the crew? Where do you think this team goes next? What do you think this team needs to do to continue improving and getting better next season so that they can make a deeper run? I'm going to catch you later, man. Stay safe, stay up, stay blessed, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. Peace out.